Over the last 3 days, something happened in Washington that most Americans were told could never happen. 4 Republican senators openly voted against their own president on one of the most powerful tools of the presidency. Not a symbolic vote, not a protest gesture, a real, binding restriction on executive authority. That single moment may have triggered the most serious constitutional confrontation America has faced in decades. Right now, as this video is being recorded, 12 Republican senators are holding private discussions about a scenario their party has spent years avoiding ending Donald Trump's presidency from inside the Republican Party itself. This isn't rumor. This isn't cable news exaggeration. This is confirmed activity happening behind closed doors. And the next 2 weeks may determine whether the U.S. Senate still functions as a check on presidential power or whether party loyalty has permanently replaced constitutional duty. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand how close America is to witnessing something that has never happened before: a president removed by his own party. To understand how we got here, we need to rewind exactly 1 week, because what happened wasn't accidental. It was sequential, it was cumulative, and it dismantled Trump's authority step by step. Tuesday, Wisconsin holds a state Supreme Court election. Trump personally intervenes. Rallies, endorsements, billionaire allies, the full MAGA operation. Result? A 14-point defeat in a state Trump must win in the future. That loss sent shockwaves through Republican strategy rooms. Wisconsin wasn't supposed to collapse like that. Wednesday, the Senate votes on limiting Trump's tariff authority. 4 Republicans defect. Trump responds the way he always does: public threats, personal insults, warnings of political destruction. But here's the key moment nobody expected. They voted against him anyway. In politics, once fear stops working, control disappears. Thursday, the Wall Street Journal, the most influential voice of corporate conservatism, publishes a brutal editorial calling Trump's trade war an economic disaster. No polite language, no hedging. That same day, markets react. Volatility spikes. Retirement accounts take visible hits. Friday, New York State begins enforcing its judgment against Trump's business empire. Bank accounts frozen, assets reviewed, properties exposed. For the first time, Trump is watching his financial world shrink, and there's no legal lever left to pull. By the weekend, panic spreads through Republican donor circles. What happened next didn't occur on television. It happened in boardrooms. Major Republican donors quietly froze contributions. Internal polling surfaced, showing Trump trailing badly against generic Democrats. But one statistic terrified party leadership. Nearly 1/3 of Republican voters said they would stay home if Trump is the nominee. For donors, that's catastrophic. Politics isn't emotional at that level. It's mathematical. And the math suddenly turned against Trump. This wasn't a random group of rebels. Each senator represents a specific vulnerability in Trump's grip on power. Mitch McConnell, 40 years in the Senate, architect of Republican dominance, Trump's shield through 2 impeachments. So why now? Because McConnell is nearing the end of his career, leadership behind him, legacy ahead of him. This isn't about loyalty anymore. It's about how history records his name. And for weeks, McConnell has been quietly counting votes. Susan Collins. Maine depends on stable trade, fishing, exports, predictable markets. Trump's tariffs hit her state directly. When Trump threatened her politically, she reportedly made it clear her voters were already paying the price. That's not defiance. That's political calculation. Lisa Murkowski, the most dangerous precedent of all. She survived a Trump-backed challenge through a write-in campaign, something nearly impossible in modern politics. That victory taught her something critical. Trump's endorsement isn't invincible. Once a politician learns that, they're no longer afraid. Rand Paul, the ideological pressure point. For decades, Republicans built their brand on opposing taxes. Yet Trump's tariffs function as one of the largest tax increases on American consumers in modern history. Paul forced Republicans to confront their own contradiction publicly. That wasn't just a vote. It was an ideological rupture. Here's what most media coverage misses. Those 4 senators aren't alone. Multiple Senate sources confirmed that 8 additional Republicans have privately signaled willingness to vote for conviction if impeachment reaches the Senate. That brings the count to 12. Not enough to remove Trump, but close enough to change everything. Those senators aren't waiting for courage. They're waiting for proof that survival is possible. The tariff vote gave them that proof. The most powerful force in American politics isn't voters, it's money, and that money is turning. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce privately warned Republican senators, end the tariffs or funding ends. Wall Street estimates trillions erased from market value due to instability, supply chains disrupted, long-term planning impossible. A leaked donor memo summarized the situation bluntly. Cut losses now or lose everything in the next election cycle. This isn't ideology. It's survival. Publicly, Trump appears chaotic. Rapid-fire posts, all caps, threats, fury. But this isn't collapse. It's mobilization. Trump is drawing a line, establishment versus base. Small dollar donations surge. Tens of millions raised in days. 2 Republican parties are now colliding. One driven by donors and institutions. One driven by Trump and loyalty. Law enforcement isn't ignoring the tension. Threat monitoring has increased. Officials are preparing for unrest. This isn't theoretical anymore. Here's the actual math. The House needs only a handful of Republicans to impeach, and that threshold is already met privately. The Senate needs 16 Republican votes to convict. Right now, 12 appear reachable. The final 4 votes will decide everything. Draft impeachment articles include obstruction of justice, abuse of power, incitement, and a new theory, economic sabotage. That last charge could give cover to senators from states being crushed by trade retaliation. If impeachment moves quickly, a Senate verdict before spring is structurally possible. This isn't just about Donald Trump. It's about whether the American system still has the ability to restrain power even when doing so is politically dangerous. The decision won't come with fireworks. It will happen quietly, vote by vote, door by door. And when the outcome finally arrives, many will say it came out of nowhere. But the warning signs were always there.